And welcome back to 1813 Fair Warning. I'm Kevin Steele, joined with Congressman Randy Weber this time. Great to see you again, Congressman.
Well, thank you, Kevin. As always, it's a delight to be here. Appreciate what you're doing.
Boy, keep us up to date. You talked extensively yesterday outside the Capitol about H.R. 5, something you see as quite troubling legislation. Explain what it does in its core that you're so opposed to.
Well, H.R. 5 is what I would call social engineering. It does so many things. Where do I start? How much time do I have?
I know, right? Yeah.
It's the Democratic wish list of social engineering. It wants to say that, no discrimination against transgender. And sure, I don't think, in any form discrimination is bad. Mm-hmm. But what they will be doing is taking away the protections of RFRA. It's a 500-page bill, by the way, something.
Yeah.
And so we've gone through it and we've dissected it. We've picked out the major bad parts of it, of course. And in fact, quite frankly, don't see any good parts.
At its core, does it not actually allow men who identify as women into locker rooms, into bathrooms, all the things that we were fearful of? H.R. 5, as I understand it, also would bring Hyde Amendment questions back in, where taxpayer funding of abortion would, again, something the American people have said many times they are opposed to.
Exactly the case. And it does more than that. What it does is it does away with RFRA, Religious Freedom Restoration Act, that Bill Clinton signed in 90, 4, 5, 6, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. That says if you have a sincerely held religious conviction, belief against something, you don't have to participate in it. And I think our great people in Southeast Texas would recognize that, hey, that's religious freedom. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. It's just that pure and simple. The government shouldn't be forcing you into doing anything that you have a religious conviction against.
Exactly.
And what this does is say in the transgender that you're talking about, for example, and let me just go back for just a minute. This smacks of President Barack Obama. When he was in office, tried the same thing, where he had a policy, it was, if you remember, executive order, where you had to allow transgender or those who woke up feeling like who wanted to self-identify as a male or a female, they could go in whatever bathroom you could not prevent them from going in the bathroom. Now imagine our ladies and our girls, how they would feel if some male wanted to identify as a female that day, just so he could go in and leer at them in the bathroom or the locker room. Imagine how ladies or girls would feel, and it's happening already across the country, where they have to compete against male athletes who call themselves a female.
Right.
And of course, so it's really smacks of that.
At bottom, do you believe that there's, and I don't know that there's any way to stop it in the House, but do you believe that it will be something that will pass through the Senate?
Boy, I tell you what, I do not know, Kevin. Lord help us. I'm hoping that it's going to take the cloture rule, 60 votes, where 10 Republicans have to agree with the 50 Democrats in order for it to go through. We're hoping, and gosh, it's unusual for us, but we hope the Senate is our backstop on this. Normally it's the House. Of course, we lost the House to Nancy Pelosi and company, and they're doing everything they can to get their liberal wish list through.
We'll get that back in 2 years.
I think so too.
We're close, my friend. All right, quickly, the Attorney General nominee, Merrick Garland, big fan. He says he wants to. Are you a big fan?
Not at all. Yeah, all you had to do.
I knew the answer to that.
Well, Obama nominated him for Supreme Court when the Senate was in session. When he was president, and of course they chose to ignore that. And if you watched him get grilled by the senators, he had zero answers to stuff. Mm-hmm. And so, no, I'm not a fan of Merrick Garland in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah, says he wants to return us to a level of to a new kind of civil rights, but I think a lot of Southeast Texans are quite concerned about what he would have done as top cop. $1.3 trillion in this stimulus bill. I know it's far too expansive a question, but in our short time period here, give me your overall observations about the bill.
Well, if you watch my Facebook page, we had a Republican conference back on, what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday, I think. And up on the board, we put exactly what this thing was doing. Of the $1.9 trillion, 9% of that, 9%, 9%, goes to COVID relief.
Yep.
Of the other 91%, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It funds union pensions, unions who couldn't fund their own pensions, who are upside down. It funds blue state bailouts. Okay. Texas, as you know, our great Texas Constitution, we have a balanced budget in our Constitution where we have to maintain a balanced budget. And of course, we're never upside down. We always have that rainy day fund. I mean, I was in the legislature 4 years before I got demoted to Congress. And I was so glad that we had that, that we had a rainy day fund. It gives more money to Planned Parenthood, Kevin.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gives money to universities, liberal universities who are teaching our kids that transgender is good, white supremacy they claim is too prevalent.
Right.
The white privilege is too prevalent. That's what our kids are being taught in universities. It has millions of dollars for the National Endowments of the Arts.
And the
Chuck Schumer gets a bridge from New York over into Canada. That's in that bill. And Pelosi gets a tunnel. 9% of that 1.9 trillion goes to COVID relief. 9%.
And the American people don't realize that we can't, on the conservative side, stop that from happening right now, because as ridiculous as some of that funding is, we don't have the power to stop some of this.
Well, that's right. That's a great
we don't have
point.
enough Congress people.
Well, that's a great point, Kevin. Sometimes people will respond to me on Facebook and they'll say things like, Randy, why aren't y'all stopping this?
Right.
And we're saying, look, it's a simple matter of math. We don't have the majority in the House. The American voters, unfortunately, gave the majority of the House to the Democrats, and they are absolutely intent. Kevin, yesterday on the floor of the House in the debate, somebody read a scripture from the Bible that says God made them male and female. He said, look, it's you guys talk about science all the time. And so here is the biological fact: you're born a male or a female. Yeah. And that's quoted in the Bible. Jesus quoted Moses in our Judeo-Christian, religious heritage. The founders knew that. The founders believed that. The founders used that. And when we got through, he said, y'all can't use God to, try to push, something. And I'm like, really? We've got some people who want to socially engineer our society, who want to totally trample on our religious heritage, our religious traditions, our Christian Judeo heritage. Right. And it's sad. They're trying to socially engineer this country. And what they're saying, Kevin, is we want to be able to do whatever we want to do. Fine. Y'all can be responsible for your actions. That's up to you. You take it up with your creator, whatever time. That's up to you. I'm not responsible for your actions. But what they're saying is, if you don't think like us, if you don't talk like us, if you don't agree with us, we're going to put this in this bill, do away with the RFRA bill, where you will be punished.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's quite one thing for them to want to do something odd like that. Do whatever they want to. That's their business. But don't try to hoodwink the rest of the American public and make us believe in it, make us act like it, and punish us when we don't.
They want to keep Southeast Texans from being able to think as they think, have the values that they have. They want to keep Kevin Steele and Congressman Randy Weber from being able to say what we believe to be true and what our values. They want to cancel us out altogether, pretty much.
It's major cancel culture.
Congressman Weber, we have limited time. We wanted to talk about the ERCOT system. I know you have strong views on that. We have a military strike from just last night and much more, but you may be limited on time, sir.
Well, yeah, thank you for that, Kevin. They're going to call votes here probably in about 8 minutes, maybe. ERCOT, yeah, we need some help. As I said earlier, other places, I'm born and raised on the Gulf Coast of Texas, 67 years. I've never seen it that cold for that period of time.
Well, are you satisfied that the administration has done as much as it can do for the grid system?
Well, the country has 9 grids. Texas is one of them. As you know, 85% of the state is in ERCOT. You're going to see some changes. The good news is the Texas legislature is in session. And guess what? We've got a Speaker of the Texas House from our area. Thank God for Dade Phelan.
Thank God for Dade Phelan, yeah.
Yeah, buddy. And so you probably know this, a little bit of the technical stuff. The system has about 108,000 megawatts of generating capacity. Here's some interesting factoids. 51,000 of those megawatts comes from natural gas-fired plants. 13,000 of those megawatts comes from coal-fired plants.
Yeah.
5,200 from nuclear, 31,000 from wind energy, right, and 6,200 from solar. Well, guess what happened to wind energy? The blades froze up. Yeah. They couldn't turn. There was a lot of cloudiness. Solar wasn't doing as good a job as it could have been doing. So we wound up having several plants trip off the line, and we were dangerously close Monday and Tuesday to having the entire system go down. And here's the technical part of it for you and for our listeners. I was in the air conditioning business for 35 years. I dealt with a lot of electrical, a lot of power stuff.
Yeah.
That system runs on 60 hertz cycles, 60 Hz. If you look at an appliance, it'll say 120 volts, 60 Hz. Okay. If it dips down into 59, there's a tolerance factor there, 59 hertz cycles. It can do damage to those generators that are online. Mm-hmm. Knock off 3 or 4, 5, 6, 8 generators, which is what happened. Cold weather and the gas supply diminished. The water pipes froze up. If the hertz cycles drops too dangerously low, it'll knock out the whole system. And we were close to that.
Very terribly close. And that would have been a really bad situation. Something must be done. I kind of trust Randy Weber to fix it more than I would the Biden administration. I'll tell you that much.
Well, that's a good point. Somebody said, well, don't we want Texas grid to be controlled by the federal government? And I said, absolutely not.
Yep.
Let Texas control it. Texas agency will fix it. I don't want to give it to some Washington, D.C. agency. No, thank you.
I know we had to run around a lot of different circles for this particular interview, sir. We'll get together again soon, hopefully, and we'll talk about some of these things with more specificity. For now, we'll let you go vote, and we just appreciate all you are. There it was, huh?
There's the call right there. Perfect timing.
Off to work. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. We'll see you later here on 1813.
Thank you, Kevin.